Oh no, I'm a car guy. I'm here because the auto show and the vehicles here give me so many reasons to be optimistic about the future.
How would you feel if you brought an electric vehicle EV today and found out that its value dropped by 30% tomorrow? That's what happened to millions of EV owners around the world as the EV market crashed in 2024. But why did this happen? And what does it mean for the future of EVs? Stay tuned till the end. Many governments around the world support and promote the adoption of EVs by offering various incentives and policies, such as subsidies, tax credits, rebates, exemptions, regulations, standards, and targets. For example, the US government extended federal tax credit of up to $7,500 for EV buyers and pledged to invest $174 billion in EV infrastructure and innovation. Some governments around the world reduced or eliminated the incentives and policies that encouraged the adoption of EVs, such as subsidies, tax credits, rebates, exemptions, regulations, standards, and targets. For example, the European Union lowered the CO2 emission targets for automakers, which reduced the pressure to produce more EVs. China also phased out the subsidies for EVs, which increased the cost and lowered the demand for EVs. The Biden administration also targeted that half of all new vehicle sales in the nation be electric by 2030 in August 2021, as part of its efforts to slash greenhouse gas emissions. Similarly, the European Union proposed banning the sale of new gasoline and diesel vehicles by 2035 and increasing the CO2 emission targets for automakers, which would boost the demand for EVs. These incentives and policies could lower the cost, increase the availability of EVs, and encourage consumers to switch from conventional vehicles to EVs. Solid-state batteries. These are the batteries that use solid electrolytes instead of liquid ones, which can improve the energy density, safety, and lifespan of EV batteries. Several companies and startups, such as QuantumScape, Solid Power, and Toyota, claim to have made breakthroughs in developing and testing solid-state batteries for EVs, and some of them plan to launch them by 2025. Wireless charging. This is a technology that allows EVs to charge their batteries without plugging into a cable by using electromagnetic induction or resonance. Several companies and organizations such as Vitricity, Plugless, and SAE International developed and standardized wireless charging systems for EVs, and some of them were deployed in public and private parking spaces. Vehicle-to-grid, V2G. This is a technology that enables EVs to communicate and exchange power with the electric grid by using bidirectional chargers and smart meters. This can help balance the supply and demand of electricity and provide ancillary services and revenue streams for EV owners and operators. Several projects and pilots such as Nissan Energy Share, Fermata Energy, and Nivu demonstrated and expanded the use of V2G technology and EVs, and some of them were integrated with renewable energy sources and microgrids. Many automakers are currently investing heavily in the research and development of EVs and launching new and improved models that can compete with conventional vehicles in terms of performance, design, and features. For example, Tesla, the leading EV maker, introduced the Model 3, which was a mass-market EV that could travel up to 353 miles on a single charge and had a top speed of 162 miles per hour. Other automakers such as Toyota, Hyundai, Volkswagen, and Ford were also expanding their EV portfolio and were offering a range of EVs, such as hatchbacks, sedans, SUVs, trucks, and buses. EVs were generally more expensive than conventional vehicles, mainly due to the high cost of batteries, which accounted for about 30% to 40% of the total cost of an EV. For example, the average price of a BEV in the US was $55,600 in 2020, compared to $36,600 for a gasoline vehicle, according to Kelley Blue Book. The high upfront cost of EVs could deter some consumers from buying them, especially in developing countries where the income levels and purchasing power are lower. Cuts in subsidies and tax credits. Some governments around the world have reduced or eliminated the incentives and policies that encourage the adoptions of EVs, such as subsidies, tax credits, rebates, exemptions, regulations, standards, and targets. For example, the European Union has lowered the CO2 emission targets for automakers, which reduces the pressure to produce more EVs. China has also phased out the subsidies for EVs, which increases the cost and lowers the demand for EVs. High upfront costs. EVs are generally more expensive than conventional vehicles, mainly due to the high cost of batteries, which account about 30% to 40% of the total cost of an EV. For example, the average price of a BEV in the US was $55,600 in 2020, compared to $36,600 for a gasoline vehicle, according to Kelley Blue Book. The high upfront cost of EVs can deter some consumers from buying them, especially in developing countries where the income levels and purchasing power are lower. Limited range and charging infrastructure. EVs have a shorter driving range than conventional vehicles, which means that they can travel a smaller distance on a single charge or fill-up. For example, the average range of a BEV in the US was 250 miles in 2020, compared to 412 miles for a gasoline vehicle, according to the US Department of Energy, DOE. EVs also need charging stations to replenish their batteries, which are not as widely available and accessible as gas stations. For example, there were about 41,000 public charging outlets in the US in 2020, compared to about 168,000 gas stations according to the DOE. The limited range of charging infrastructure can limit the mobility and convenience of EV drivers and discourage them from traveling long distances or to remote areas. Battery degradation and supply chain issues. EVs use lithium-ion batteries, which degrade over time and lose their capacity and performance. For example, a typical EV battery can lose about 20% of its capacity after 100,000 miles, according to the DOE. Battery degradation can reduce the range and efficiency of EVs and increase the need for replacement, which can be costly and environmentally harmful. EVs also depend on the supply of raw materials such as lithium, cobalt, nickel, and copper, which are scarce and subject to price fluctuations and geopolitical conflicts. For example, the global shortages of semiconductors, which are essential for EVs, has disrupted the production and delivery of EVs in 2023. Lower sales and market share. The global EV market suffered a dramatic collapse in January 2023 sales, with Rystad Energy research showing that only 672,000 units were sold, down from 1.1 million units in December 2022. The EV market share also dropped from 10.8% in December 2022 to 6.7% in January 2023. The US EV market share also declined from 7.5% in 2023 to 6.4% in 2024. Higher inventory and lower prices. The supply of EVs has exceeded the demand, leading to higher inventory and lower prices. According to an auto research firm, used EV prices have fallen nearly 30% year over year, with price drops actually accelerating from 8.8% in January to 16.8% in March and to 29.5% in June. The average price of a used EV in the US was $23,600 in June 2023, compared to $33,600 in June 2022. Some automakers have also slashed the price of new EVs, such as Tesla, which reduced the prices of its Model 3 and Model Y by up to $2,000 in February 2023. Lower profitability and innovation. The lower sales and prices of EVs have reduced the profitability and innovation of the EV industry. Some automakers have reported losses or lower profits from their EV segments, such as Ford, which lost $181 million from its EV business in the second quarter of 2023. Growing consumer awareness and preference. Many consumers are becoming more aware of the environmental and health benefits of EVs and are looking for alternatives to conventional vehicles that can reduce their carbon footprint and fuel consumption. Improving technology and performance. The EV industry is constantly improving the technology and performance of EVs by developing better and cheaper batteries, increasing the range and efficiency of EVs, expanding the charging infrastructure and network, and enhancing the design and features of EVs. So what do you think? Is the EV market really crashing, or is it a temporary setback? Share your thoughts and opinions in the comment box, and please give it a thumbs up. Share it with your friends and subscribe to our channel for more content like this. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.